Hi, Shelly here, So Shelly Quilts. So I am seated at my Bernina Q20. Wow, can't tell you what a joy this is. This sit-down long arm, big table, love it. So excited. And now I have to learn how to really quilt. And so I'm very excited to do that. This is a quilt. Luckily, I found a whole lot of unfinished quilt tops from long ago and far away. Some of them might have been creatively pieced from when I first learned to quilt. Some of them might have been creatively designed. Some of them are lovely, they just were never finished. But what I wanted to show you today is on this one, it's got all this wild fabric. And they say that if you quilt in the really wild fabric, it doesn't show. Bonus! Yay! Perfect place to practice a skill that you want to acquire before you put it somewhere that it does show. So I am learning curved cross hatching, and it doesn't show that much. So as I learn, and maybe my lines aren't perfect or something's not just right, I'm not too upset or concerned about that. Oh, how funny, that's in the fabric. That white, that's not a thread. Anyway, on the back I can see my work. Actually, I'm doing pretty decent, but I promise it is not a perfect curved crotch hatch. There's a wiggle. And there is a lot to learning how to do that well. And so learning, my point is, practice on these wild fabrics. I'm going to have a great quilt. It'll be quilted well, but most of this learning curve will never really show. And then when I get to the white, my skills will be even better. And so I'll do something there that is going to show more. But quilt on the wild stuff, learning the hard things with the crazy fabrics, and there you go. Now I am using, once again, a Bernina ruler. It's a 1/4 inch thick. And I marked on it. I used Sharpie and some tape. The bottom has got stick stuff so that it doesn't wiggle. But I needed to know where the center of this curve was. And I wanted to know how my spacing was. So I just used whatever tools I needed to mark the ruler so that then I can do the curved cross hatching. I did all of these continuous line curves first. And now I'm going back in and filling in with the crosshatch. So I'll show you the quilt when it's finished. This is taking much longer than I realized, and that's great. It's just more and more and more time to learn, because there's a lot of backtracking when you're doing cross hatching. Here I'm having to learn how to quilt really nice and straight against the white. Where do you go next? Why do you go there? And so it's just a really good skill to have, but I'm so glad to be able to learn it on something like this that it's really never going to show. Now guys, my quilts are not going to be entered to be judged anywhere. I'm not a show quilter, and in fact some of you may gasp, but my hopes is that this actual quilt lives in the trunk of one of my son or daughter-in-law's cars and is taken on many, many, many picnics. And that is my goal with this quilt, is that it sets at a lot of soccer games and that it sets on the field for football. And I like that idea that my quilts are used. One of my favorite photos is of a quilt at the beach that my daughter took with her. So some of these quilts, that is their intention, and that was this intention. So just wanted to remind you that sometimes this wild fabric is the best place to learn a new quilting skill, because it really won't show, and you can just practice, practice, practice. This is Shelly, So Shelly Quilts. Bye.